is that line about T.I.?
Absolutely for the public to decide.
I'm not raised like that. I don't go. I'm not going about my mama. I'm not going. So tell your ass mama dig her ass up and post a picture.
As the online conflict continued attracting attention, an unexpected voice suddenly entered the discussion. Tina Knowles, the mother of global superstar Beyoncé, reposted a supportive video featuring Tamika "Tiny" Harris. The repost quickly caught the attention of social media users. Tiny publicly thanked Tina Knowles for the support, which immediately drew even more attention to the situation. Because Beyoncé's fan base is one of the largest and most active in the world, any connection involving her family tends to spread rapidly online. Soon after the repost appeared, 50 Cent made another Instagram post joking about older family members getting involved in internet drama. Although he did not mention names directly, many people believed the message was aimed at the situation involving Tina Knowles. That moment triggered a strong reaction from fans. Beyoncé's supporters, often referred to as the Bayhive, began responding online. As the conversation intensified, the backlash quickly grew. Within a short period of time, many of the posts connected to the feud disappeared from 50 Cent's Instagram page. Whether the removals were intentional or simply part of his usual online strategy, the internet had already captured screenshots and shared them widely. By that point, the story had spread across blogs, podcasts, and entertainment channels. What started as a single Instagram post had evolved into one of the most talked about celebrity internet disputes of the year. For some observers, the situation highlighted how quickly social media conflicts can escalate when family, reputation, and public pride all collide in the spotlight. Others viewed it as another example of the unpredictable drama that often surrounds the hip-hop industry. Regardless of which perspective people held, one thing was clear: the rivalry between 50 Cent and T.I. had once again become a major topic of conversation. And as with many stories in the entertainment world, the public debate about who handled the situation better continued long after the posts themselves had disappeared.
The reason I took to the booth is because it was the most mature, level-headed, the most peaceful and organized display of disdain. That I don't get online. I don't want to be the guy yelling in my phone. I don't want to do disrespectful posts back and forth and all that old shit, bro. What I know how to do, I know how to get in them motherfucking booth. I know how to talk my shit, speak my mind, and deliver the message I need to have conveyed. So every time a motherfucker come with them motherfucking memes and them bullshit ass posts, then I'm gonna do it. Take my ass right back in the booth and do what I know how to do.
Instead of responding through music, 50 Cent chose a completely different approach. Rather than releasing a diss track or addressing the situation in an interview, he turned to the platform where he has built a reputation for stirring controversy, Instagram. On his page, 50 Cent posted a photo of Tamika "Tiny" Harris, the wife of T.I. The caption accompanying the image told T.I. to stop mentioning his name publicly. At first glance, the message might have seemed like another typical internet jab. However, the decision to involve Tiny Harris immediately changed the tone of the entire situation. Up until that point, the rivalry had been mostly about two rappers competing for influence and respect within the hip-hop industry. But bringing a family member into the argument transformed it into something much more personal. Many observers felt that crossing into family territory was a step too far. Tiny Harris was not just known as T.I.'s wife. Long before her relationship with him became widely known, she had already built her own successful career in the music industry. Born Tamika Diane Cottle on July 14, 1975, in College Park, she rose to fame in the early 1990s as a member of the influential R&B group Escape. The group helped define the sound of 1990s R&B and quickly became one of the most recognizable female vocal groups of that era. Their music earned multiple chart successes and established Tiny as a talented performer. But her influence extended even further behind the scenes. Tiny later became a respected songwriter and played a key role in creating one of the most famous R&B songs of the late 1990s. She co-wrote No Scrubs for the group TLC, a track that became a massive global hit. The song won a Grammy Award and remains one of the most recognizable R&B records ever released. Because of that success, Tiny had already established a powerful reputation within the music world long before her personal life became the focus of public attention. For that reason, when 50 Cent brought her into the middle of his conflict with T.I., many fans believed the situation had moved.
Don't enjoy it. I do not. Simply because I've spent so much time trying to get this off the ledge.
Talking about King.
Yes. And now he has justifiable means to undo all of the teachings that I've been teaching.
Got it.
I do not like this. No, I do not enjoy it.
Now, Damani kept us cool. Damani's always cool.
What the fuck? What universe is this? You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, man, listen, man. I'm a logical, reasonable man of respect, bro. And I raise my children to be men of respect, logical, reasonable, and not to be emotional.
As the rivalry continued developing, the situation expanded beyond just T.I. and 50 Cent. Other members of the Harris family began adding their own voices to the conversation, making the conflict even more complicated. One of the first to step forward was Damani Harris, T.I.'s older son. Damani released his own diss track responding to the situation. The song quickly caught the attention of listeners because it sampled the classic track Ms. Jackson by the legendary Atlanta duo Outkast. Many fans believed that choosing that particular sample was intentional. The song Ms. Jackson is famous for addressing complicated family relationships, and using it within the context of this feud added another layer of symbolism. Shortly afterward, King Harris also entered the musical side of the conflict. On February 24th, he released a diss track titled Made Man. For King, the moment represented a major shift. For years, he had often been labeled online as a Nepo baby, a term used to describe someone who benefits from family connections within an industry. But by releasing his own response track, he was attempting to prove that he could stand on his own in the world of hip-hop. The situation created a dramatic contrast. On one side stood 50 Cent, a veteran artist known for his sharp internet trolling and his long history of rap feuds. On the other side were multiple members of the Harris family stepping forward to defend their name. Interestingly, 50 Cent did not respond strongly to the music itself. Instead, he continued posting content about his upcoming projects, including a Broadway production connected to Joe Turner's Come and Gone. Although some captions contained subtle jokes that fans believed were aimed at T.I.'s family, the responses remained indirect rather than confrontational. But the story was about to become even bigger when an unexpected public figure entered the conversation.
Y'all been keeping up with this 50 Cent versus T.I. drama? If not, let me fill you guys in. So this whole thing started over potential versus battle, 50 versus T.I., and at first 50 was down to do it, but allegedly he backed out and started acting a little funny about the whole situation. T.I. originally said the versus battle was supposed to be about celebrating catalogs, but now he questions 50's character and said he straight up doesn't respect it. And that's when things went left. 50 hopped on social media and posted a really bad photo of Tiny, T.I.'s wife. A lot of people were saying the picture looks edited, but either way, folks were like, what does Tiny have to do with this? From there, King Harris, T.I.'s son, entered the chat and said, stop playing with his mama. He basically took to Instagram defending his mom and telling 50 Cent to stop playing with her.
As the tension continued spreading across social media, T.I. eventually decided he could not remain silent while his family was being pulled into a public argument. Instead of responding through interviews or social media posts alone, he chose the method that has traditionally been used in hip-hop conflicts for decades, music. On February 23rd, T.I. released a diss track titled The Right One. The song immediately caught the attention of fans and commentators because it marked the first time he directly addressed the situation through a recorded track. In the lyrics, T.I. criticized 50 Cent for constantly creating controversy online rather than settling disagreements through lyrical competition. Throughout the song, T.I. suggested that while 50 Cent had built a reputation for dominating internet conversations, real hip-hop competition should take place through music. Many listeners interpreted the track as a challenge, implying that if there was truly tension between the two artists, it should be handled in the recording booth rather than through Instagram posts. The release of The Right One quickly spread across social media platforms. Fans began sharing the track, analyzing the lyrics line by line, and debating whether the song successfully responded to 50 Cent's earlier comments. Some listeners felt that T.I. had delivered a strong and confident reply, while others argued that the rivalry might simply continue escalating without reaching a clear resolution. The diss track also served another important purpose. It showed that T.I. was publicly standing behind his family, particularly his son King Harris, who had already spoken out emotionally online. By releasing the track, T.I. made it clear that the situation was no longer just a random internet disagreement, but something he was willing to address directly. For longtime followers of hip-hop culture, the moment felt familiar. Rivalries between artists have historically played out through diss tracks, interviews, and competitive performances. In many cases, those moments become defining chapters in the careers of the artists involved. However, this particular situation was different in one important way. Unlike many classic rap rivalries, the conflict now involved family members and social media audiences who were watching every move in real time. That meant the pressure and attention surrounding each response were much greater than they might have been years earlier. Despite the intensity of the situation, the story was still evolving. The release of T.I.'s diss track did not bring the conflict to an immediate end. Instead, it opened the door for additional reactions from multiple sides, including more responses from the Harris family. And as the days continued, the rivalry would begin spreading even further beyond the two original artists.
And he even mentioned 50 Cent's dead mom and said to dig her up. After that, 50 responded the way 50 does, by trolling. He posted memes, reposted videos, and now T.I. hopped in the booth. So T.I. dropped a diss track aimed directly at 50 Cent, and in the song, he says something along the lines that 50 Cent isn't as tough as his son, King Harris. So what was supposed to be just a versus rap battle ended up getting extremely personal, and the internet has a lot to say about it. People were saying King Harris shouldn't have got involved, others were saying, I'ma ride about my mama, so.
In many ways, the entire situation can be summarized by one simple but powerful moment. A single Instagram post from 50 Cent suddenly reignited a controversy that had been quietly sitting in the background for years. At first, the post looked like nothing more than another casual jab on social media. People are used to seeing celebrities exchange small insults online, and many assumed this would be just another quick moment of internet drama that would disappear within a day or two. But once fans began noticing a particular comment that seemed to hint at King Harris and questioned who his real father might be, the entire conversation changed almost instantly. What started as a small online remark quickly turned into a massive debate spreading across social media platforms, blogs, and entertainment channels. The reason the situation escalated so quickly is because the tension between 50 Cent and T.I. did not suddenly appear overnight. Their rivalry has existed for nearly 2 decades. What seemed like a random online argument in 2026 actually has deep roots stretching all the way back to the mid-2000s when both artists were dominating the rap industry. During that era, Curtis Jackson had already established himself as one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop. His brand G-Unit had grown into a massive business empire. With successful albums, chart-topping singles, and multiple artists under his label, 50 Cent controlled a major portion of the industry's attention. At the same time, another powerful voice was rising out of Atlanta. Clifford Harris Jr., better known to the world as T.I., was building his reputation as one of the leading artists in Southern hip-hop. He proudly referred to himself as the King of the South, a title that many fans believed he had earned through years of successful music releases and cultural influence. Whenever two major artists hold that much influence at the same time, competition is almost unavoidable. In the beginning, the rivalry remained mostly quiet. There were subtle comments in interviews, competitive lyrics in songs, and the occasional indirect remark that hinted at tension. However, nothing during those early years turned into a full-scale public conflict. Things began to grow more serious around 2007 and 2008. During that time, 50 Cent started publicly raising questions about legal issues surrounding T.I. These comments slowly turned the quiet rivalry into something much more noticeable. Fans began watching closely, wondering whether the tension would eventually explode into a direct confrontation between the two influential figures. At the time, nobody realized that this rivalry would continue simmering beneath the surface for nearly 20 years before finally resurfacing in dramatic fashion.
And when I see King, how he moving, it's emotional, and I know, and me too, you know what I'm saying? Me too. You know, you drag the matriarch of our household into some nonsense. So the one thing that I am proud of out of all of this is that the women and children in our family see that it's a line of men that's here.
Right.
Against who the fuck ever. You know what I mean? And we not here to defeat.
Long before the recent online conflict, the relationship between T.I. and Tamika "Tiny" Harris had already been widely discussed by fans and media outlets. Their partnership has lasted for decades, but it has also faced many challenges along the way. The two first met around 2001 through connections in the music industry. At the time, T.I. was still building his reputation as an artist, while Tiny had already experienced success through her music career. Interestingly, Tiny has shared in interviews that she initially turned him down when he first showed interest in her. However, over time their relationship gradually grew stronger. By the mid-2000s, the couple had become one of hip-hop's most recognizable pairs. They eventually married on July 30, 2010, during a courthouse ceremony in Miami Beach. Later celebrations took place in both Atlanta and Las Vegas. Together they built a large blended family that included 7 children. Among them was King Harris, who was born in 2004. Their family life later became the focus of the reality television show T.I. Tiny, The Family Hustle, which aired from 2011 until 2017. The show offered viewers a glimpse into their daily lives, including the challenges of balancing fame, parenting, and business. However, while the program often showed positive moments, their relationship was not without difficulties. In 2016, Tiny officially filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. At the time, she spoke about feeling disrespected after years of rumors and tension surrounding their marriage. Yet, despite the filing, the couple later decided to give their relationship another chance and eventually reconciled. Over time, they presented a united front again. In 2025, they celebrated 15 years of marriage with a vacation trip to Thailand, sharing photos and messages about how much their relationship had grown over the years. That history is important because when the Instagram post from 50 Cent appeared, it reopened conversations about their personal lives that many believed had finally settled down.
Real life situations to create something that's entertaining without being specific. That's entertainment to me. Like if I had an issue, when have you known me to be indirect with an issue?
Oh, you're pretty direct.
Right, so if I had a problem with any artist, trust me, they...
After releasing The Right One, T.I. did not stop there. In fact, the diss track appeared to be only the beginning of his musical response to the ongoing situation involving 50 Cent. Soon after the first song began circulating online, T.I. previewed another track titled War. The record was produced by longtime collaborator DJ Tump, a producer known for helping shape many of T.I.'s earlier hits. By teasing the song publicly, T.I. hinted that he might continue addressing the conflict through additional music releases in the future. Around the same time, another record connected to the situation began gaining attention as well. T.I. shared a track called What Bully. While the song itself carried its own message, what really caught people's attention was the image that accompanied the post promoting the track. The image showed an older photo of 50 Cent taken during the period when he dramatically lost weight for his acting role in the film All Things Fall Apart. For that role, 50 Cent underwent a significant physical transformation, dropping a large amount of weight to portray a character battling illness. Although the transformation had originally been praised as a sign of serious dedication to acting, the image had followed him around the internet for years as a frequent subject of memes and jokes. By bringing that photo back into the conversation, T.I. was clearly aiming to draw attention and provoke a reaction. The move succeeded in generating even more discussion online. Fans began sharing the image again while debating whether the rivalry was beginning to escalate too far into personal territory. At this stage, the situation was no longer limited to two rappers exchanging comments. Multiple songs, social media posts, and public reactions were now adding new layers to the conflict. What made the story even more interesting was that other members of the Harris family soon decided to step into the situation as well. The disagreement was gradually turning into a much larger public spectacle than anyone originally expected.
I said I wanted 50. That's what I said. He don't want no smoke, though. Oh, no. I called my man out. He don't want no smoke. He ducking smoke.
When the Instagram post started spreading across the internet, the reaction inside the Harris family came quickly. For King Harris, the situation felt extremely personal. King had grown up under public attention his entire life. Cameras had followed his family through reality television, interviews, and social media updates. Because of that exposure, he was already familiar with criticism and online commentary. However, this situation was different. Seeing his mother suddenly turned into the subject of viral jokes and speculation pushed him into the middle of the conflict. King decided not to stay silent. Instead, he responded directly through Instagram stories, speaking emotionally about the situation while thousands of viewers watched the posts appear in real time. During those videos, he strongly criticized 50 Cent, accusing him of constantly chasing attention online by creating controversy. King also referenced several moments from 50 Cent's career, including the famous 2007 album sales battle between Kanye West and 50 Cent. In that competition, Kanye West's album Graduation sold more copies than 50 Cent's album Curtis during their release week. King used that moment as an example while arguing that 50 Cent had spent years creating drama to remain in the spotlight. The videos quickly went viral. What had originally been a disagreement between two veteran rappers was now involving the next generation of their families.
I'm not raised like that. I don't go. I'm not going back my mom. I'm not going. So tell your dad's mama dig her ass up and post a picture.
As the rivalry slowly intensified, the conversation moved into far more serious territory. The issue that began circulating during that period involved a rumor that can permanently damage a reputation in hip-hop culture. The discussion centered around the idea of cooperating with federal authorities, something that the rap community often views as a serious violation of street loyalty. The controversy began in October 2007 when T.I. was arrested in Atlanta during a federal investigation conducted by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. According to authorities, T.I. had attempted to purchase illegal weapons through an individual who was secretly cooperating with federal investigators. The charges were extremely serious. Each count carried the possibility of significant prison time. In fact, some reports suggested that if the situation had unfolded differently, the penalties could have included multiple years in federal prison along with heavy financial fines. When the case finally reached its conclusion in March 2009, the outcome surprised many people in the entertainment industry. T.I. received a sentence of 1 year and 1 day in federal prison. Compared to the potential maximum penalties, some observers felt that the punishment appeared relatively light. That perception quickly fueled speculation. Rumors began spreading throughout the rap community, with some people questioning how the final sentence had been determined. While there was never any confirmed evidence supporting the rumors, the conversation continued growing louder. During this same period, 50 Cent added further attention to the situation through music. On a G-Unit project released in 2008, a track titled You So Tough included a line that many listeners interpreted as a subtle reference to T.I.'s legal situation. Interestingly, the lyrics never mentioned any names directly. However, the wording of the line caused many fans to believe the message was clearly aimed at T.I. When interviewers later asked 50 Cent whether the lyric was directed at him, he avoided giving a clear answer. Instead, he responded in his typical style, leaving the statement open to interpretation and allowing fans to debate its meaning. T.I., on the other hand, strongly rejected the rumors. Over the years, he repeatedly explained that his case was resolved through a legal agreement with the court system and that he never cooperated against anyone. As part of the sentencing process, he completed more than 1,000 hours of community service and traveled across multiple states speaking to young people about making responsible decisions. Despite those efforts, rumors often travel faster than explanations in the entertainment world. Even as time passed and both artists continued focusing on their careers, the tension between them never completely disappeared. In the end, the entire situation surrounding 50 Cent and T.I. shows how quickly a long history of rivalry can return to the spotlight when social media becomes involved. What began as a simple Instagram moment eventually turned into a much larger conversation involving music, family members, and millions of people watching online. The tension between these two artists has existed for nearly 2 decades. Both men built their reputations during a powerful era of hip-hop when competition was intense and influence mattered greatly. During the mid-2000s, 50 Cent was dominating the industry through his music and the success of the G-Unit movement. At the same time, T.I. was rising from Atlanta and proudly carrying the title of King of the South, a name that many fans believed reflected his impact on Southern hip-hop culture. For years, the rivalry between them appeared in small moments, lyrics, interviews, and occasional comments that hinted at competition. However, it never exploded into a full public feud during those early years. Instead, it quietly remained part of the background of hip-hop culture while both artists continued expanding their careers. Over time, both men also moved beyond music into larger business ventures. 50 Cent became heavily involved in television production, business investments, and film projects, while T.I. continued releasing music, acting, and developing multiple entertainment ventures of his own. From the outside, it seemed like both artists had moved far beyond the competitive tensions that once surrounded their careers. But the events of 2026 proved that old rivalries rarely disappear completely. When the conversation about a possible Versus-style music battle surfaced during T.I.'s appearance on the Nightcap podcast, it looked like nothing more than a friendly competitive idea. However, the moment the topic reached social media and 50 Cent reacted publicly, the tone changed quickly. The situation became even more intense when a post involving Tamika "Tiny" Harris brought family members directly into the conversation. For King Harris, the situation felt personal, and his emotional response online showed how deeply the moment affected him. Soon afterward, the conflict moved from social media into music. Diss tracks, responses, and public commentary began spreading across the internet. Songs like The Right One and Made Man added new layers to the discussion while fans analyzed every lyric for hidden meaning. Interestingly, 50 Cent never fully escalated the musical side of the rivalry. Instead, he continued focusing on his business and entertainment projects, including his involvement with the stage production of Joe Turner's Come and Gone. Even so, the situation had already grown large enough that other public figures became part of the conversation. When Tina Knowles publicly showed support for Tiny Harris, the story gained even more attention. With Beyoncé having one of the most dedicated fan bases in the world, the involvement of her family quickly pushed the story into an even larger spotlight. Within days, the internet was filled with debates about who handled the situation better. Some people believed the Harris family was simply defending themselves after being pulled into the conflict. Others felt the responses escalated the situation further than necessary. Eventually, many of the posts connected to the argument disappeared from social media. But by that point, the story had already spread across entertainment websites, podcasts, and online discussions everywhere. Moments like this reveal something important about modern celebrity culture. In earlier decades, rivalries between artists unfolded slowly through albums, interviews, and live performances. Today, however, a single post can reach millions of people within minutes and transform a small disagreement into global entertainment news. The feud between 50 Cent and T.I. is a perfect example of how quickly those moments can spiral into something much bigger. And while the argument itself may eventually fade away, the conversation it created will likely remain another unforgettable chapter in the long history of hip-hop rivalries.